week's live stream. Mr. T takes a hammer to his marvelous machine and shows why he really needs a vacation. Funny animator Jim and the Chromeworks Discord crew demo his amazing multiplayer gaming experiment. And co-op student Ben M shows us his own twist on Mr. T's Infinity Engine. All this and more coming up.
Good morning.
Oh no! I had my microphone turned off. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I think that some of the people at home probably weren't hearing me for the first couple of seconds there. Sorry about that. My microphone was switched off. I was just talking about my vacation. I'm going to be on vacation July 24th and August 14th, and the rest of the summer I should be good to go for live streams, just so that you guys know. Anyway, sorry, back to what we were discussing here. So Cannon's with us. Davey from Ottawa is here. Good morning, Davey. And Kian, also from Ottawa, is here this morning. Good morning, Kian.
Morning.
Morning. And way over in London, England, we have Deck, the decoder, here again. Good morning, Deck. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good, good. And over in upstate New York, we have a funny animator, Jim, who's got some interesting stuff to talk about today. Hi, Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'll be getting to you in just a second, Jim. Jim's got a project he wants to show us that we're very excited about. But first, I wanted to give you guys the heads up. Is Ben online? Are you available right now, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get on to our main activity for the day here, I just want to let you know that part 4 of Super Smash Brothers, Ben's epic game tutorial, is going to be going live a little later today. We have a couple more tweaks to add to it. Tell us about what's going on in part 4, Ben.
Well, we're finally actually finishing it. So we're doing everything from finishing off the characters, finishing off some of the in-game stuff so we can see our health and fun things like that.
Excellent, excellent. So we've decided that we're going to do one more supplemental thing. I'm not quite sure when that's coming out, but we're going to add one more part, which is by popular demand. We're going to do a little tutorial on how to add new characters to this game as well. And so if you have a favorite Nintendo character or even a character from a different game you want to put into this, then Ben's going to show you how to do it. Right, Ben?
Yes. Hopefully that'll come out within the next few days.
Okay, excellent. So we don't have a schedule for that, but we're all excited about that. Anyway, so funny animator Jim has been working on an online multiplayer gaming project, and I wanted him on today to discuss it a little bit with us because I was doing some initial playing around, and I'm very excited about it. While we're getting ready to talk to him, though, I'm going to paste an address into the chat here on YouTube and on Discord, and if everyone who's available online can log into this game, Jim says that he's had as many as 50 something players on this game at once, so we're trying to see how many people we can get playing this game all at once. So please click on the link, everyone, and try and join my game right now. Whoop. Let me whoa. That music's not really going to work for me here. Let me just turn the volume down. All right. Whoa, there we go. That's a little better. All right, so I'm waiting for other people to join the game with the link that I've just given you here. So Jim, tell us a little bit about your game.
Oh, there we go. I just got in the game, and there's other people here now. Okay, so this was just hello. I'm the blue one in the corner.
Yeah.
So this game, before the main cloud multiplayer games, the major ones before this, only had about the capacity for about 8 players, maybe 10.
Mm-hmm.
And because of you're restricted to making only 10 cloud variables.
Right.
So then I noticed that, but there were a few games that somehow, like maybe by Drift Patch, that were able to get more players into the game somehow with like Chris instead. So then I was looking around on some profiles, and I found Xtrunk's cloud engine. I linked his name in the description.
Okay.
And he put together some kind of infinite he said he put together an infinite cloud project, and I linked the project in there. And he said he learned a lot of it from Griff Patch's code by studying his code. So then I asked him if I could compile it into this project, and then I changed a lot of the things about it, like renamed the list and reorganized the code and some stuff, and added some more features, like you can play around in this game, and if you press I, you can see some of the info, which helps me with like testing and making sure stuff is working correctly.
Right, just I can see that here now.
Oh, wait, you have to reload.
I have to reload, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not seeing anyone else in the game right now. Let me try reloading.
That's what happened to me.
All right, I'm also just going to disconnect the background music just so that I don't have any distractions here while you guys are talking. So let me just get this up and running. Whoa, yeah, we got some stuff.
That's the thumbnail.
Oh, that's the thumbnail. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, just going to get into the file here and disable the background music so that.
Okay. Well, but then it won't. You see, it doesn't allow you to edit it while.
Okay, so.
So you can just mute. I think if you right-click the tab and then mute it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best solution here, because I still want to be able to hear you, of course. So I can't mute my. Okay, so let me just mute this website. Okay, and we'll try it one more time. All right. Yeah, I hadn't contemplated. I mean, I hadn't.
You have to reload it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll reload. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna get everyone.
It doesn't allow you to edit the projects that have cloud in them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a security thing, I guess, eh?
Yeah, it might mess up the game.
Whoa! How many people? Yeah, there we are. Now we're into this.
We got 8
players. Wow. And so how many players have you managed to get into here? This is really quite remarkable.
The most I got on here was 57. I think that was like on the day I shared it. So I came on here. I just shared it, so a bunch of people got a notification, and then I clicked the love and favorite button, so that way people would come on and share it to some of my friends on Discord as well.
Right.
So we got a bunch of players on here, and then a few people, what they were doing is duplicating the tabs, so they could test to see how many players they could get on.
Right.
And that actually worked to get more players on, so we could test it, and then we got up to 57.
Wow, that's impressive. It's quite an interesting hack that you managed to with only like 8 global variables to get that many players on, eh? So as I understand it, they're sharing the same variable somehow. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So what it is, I'm pretty sure, is that every single frame, every player is just setting all their data, because like normally you would have one player gets their own variable every time, right? But in this, I think it's that the players are just sending their data to a random variable of one of the 8 every frame.
Right.
And that way everybody can get the chance to get their data across every single frame fast enough.
Very
that
cool.
It actually works.
Wow. So, what kind of advice can you give any of our users who might want to take this and modify it? What is there a little quick um, bit of advice you can give us in terms of how to mess with this code?
Sure. So, okay. I'll just watch your stream and sort of. Okay, so if you go to the right and then down,
Yeah, there's a
the player's script. Oh, the script with all the red blocks of the list.
yeah. Let me just unzoom
Up,
here.
up.
This one here on the right.
No, in the middle.
Oh, in the middle here.
Right. So down. The one with the list blocks.
Yeah, this one.
Up a little bit. The script above that one.
Oh
there,
yeah,
this
yeah. It's
one.
all messed up here. Let me just clean this up.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea.
That's what's going on here.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, this one right here.
Okay.
So all you would need to do is, so as you can see, what it's doing is there's this list called My Info,
Mm-hmm.
and what it's doing is, oh, there's somebody with background noise in
Uh,
the call.
I'm not hearing anyone else. We've muted everyone else except for me and you, Jim.
Oh, that was Kendra, I think.
Yeah, no, that's already been dealt with. I muted her.
Oh, okay. So you can see in the list it's saying delete all. So clear the list first of all, and then add username, and then add ID, and then add the timer, and then add the player X, player Y, direction, color, size, name. See, so it's just adding all of the information of the player into this list, and then the cloud is gonna process that later. So all you need to do to add your own features is basically just configure this to just add whatever necessary information you would need into this list. It can be as long as you want, it can be as short as you want. You can put these into any order,
Mm-hmm.
and then the cloud is going to remember that. And then what you can do is if you go down, or no, it's up, I think. No,
Let me zoom out here
to the
again.
right, actually.
Yeah.
So you see this next script up here is taking each item of the list.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go down, so you see what it's doing is it's taking each item of the list and, well, actually, so you see replace item 4 and the 5.
Right.
Those are the X and Y positions. So you have to keep track of which numbers each of the data points went to.
Right.
And what the 4 is doing is it's basically smoothing it. So if I didn't have all of the green blocks there and just said replace item 4 with item 4, then it would be really choppy.
Right.
But this script allowed it to basically just split the distance into three thirds, and then it makes it smoother.
Right. Right.
And I have another trick for the direction. As you can see, there's a bunch of crazy stuff going on for the direction, and for the size, I also did a little smoothing trick. So then what it does is at the bottom player display, you see it puts all of those items into this block, and then it's going to use it to display the player. So all it does is just you put the go to X block,
Right.
and then you drag those bubbles in, which came from right above there, that list.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is all you would need to do. You would just need to configure it to make it work the way you want it.
Very
But I just
cool.
want to, Jim, since you could have this size thing, can't you make like a guard.io game?
I think so. Yeah, you could.
Wow. Yes.
The thing that might be hard is getting. You know how you have to fire mass like with the W key, or like splitting, like that might. The splitting, I think you could do probably.
Right.
But the firing mass, it would be a little hard because there's so many of those little
Mm-hmm.
blobs.
Right. This looks like a really cool engine, Jim. I'd love to see it turned into an actual game. Do you have any plans to turn this into a game?
Yes, my main plan was to turn Fortnite Z because right now there is an online playground in that game in the first project of that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't spend as much time on that as the main game mode. So the map is not very big, and it only allows for 8 players because I was using an older an engine. But now with this, I'm going to be able to add. I'm going to be able to make it use more players.
Right. Very
Which is
cool.
going to be great. Oh, I think you have to go into just the regular project and not the editor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
just
yeah,
go
that's
back
fine.
to my project page.
Yeah, and then reload.
No, it seems to think I'm a new scratcher now. Whoa.
No, I guess you have to reload it.
Yeah, let's just reload it one more
Yeah,
time.
it's really strange.
Yeah.
This thing.
Anyway, so yeah, if you do adapt this and turn it into an actual game project, I'd be really interested to showcase this in the future. Anyway, so so thanks for sharing that with us, Jim. This is really exciting. I've done a bit of playing around with multiplayer stuff, and it's just been too complicated for me. You had a lot of help from some other scratchers who've kind of paved the way on this thing as well. But I'd love to. I'd love to look a little more deeply into online multiplayer at some point, but this stuff is just super complicated. So I'm waiting for someone to do a really good tutorial. Griffpatch has done a good tutorial on multiplayer, hasn't he? Is it?
Yes, and that's the engine I think most people, including me, were using for a really long time.
Yeah.
The only problem with the Griffpatch engine is that it doesn't support a lot of players. Because if you add any more players, it's going to break all the variables.
Right.
Well, you could get up to 10 because with that method, because he's doing the traditional way of only one variable per player.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you were using this, then you could get more players. And originally, before I tested this, I thought it was going to be really choppy because if it's only sending the data if it's always sending to a random variable, then maybe not everybody's going to be able to get not everyone's going to be able to get their data in every frame. But when we were playing with the 57 players, it actually looked just as smooth as if there were 2 players.
Yeah, that's the part that really
awesome.
that really amazes me, actually. So it's quite an engineering feat here. Very, very impressive work, buddy. Okay, I think we're gonna move. Yeah, I think we're gonna move along. Thanks for joining us. Canon was with us here today too. Hey, Super Canon, did you want to share one of your files? We were talking yesterday about your fire thing, but if you're not ready to show it today, we can do it some other time. Did you, Canon? Are you there, buddy? All right, I'm going to move along. Canon, if you want to just share in the text if there's anything that you do want to share with us, and then we might get to it later.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you are here. Okay, great. Did you? I noticed you got up early in the morning here to be with us today, so I just was wondering if you wanted to share your project with us. I was looking at at the little graphical file that you did, the campfire thing. Are you interested in describing that to us a little bit, or?
Yeah, so what I was basically doing is I was going to make a...
I don't think I have it on the screen here, though, buddy. Do we have...
you can go to the link in...
Yeah, it's in the...
project share.
It's in the chat, right? Hold it. Oh, no, I actually don't have it. I don't have the link up on my screen right now. Maybe we should save that for another day, since I don't have the link up here, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, okay, great. All right. So, a couple of other things I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I had a new segment of my marvelous machine that I was going to show you guys today. And I think I'm going to jump to that right now. So I think that you guys have most of you who've been watching my stream for a while have seen my marvelous machine segment. I've got it running here right now. Let's maximize it out on the screen here. It's just a fun little experiment with interactivity, and I like to just show off some of the different features that I have here. I've got a little slider here that makes music. Oh, I've got my tab muted, I guess. Let me get that unmuted. There we are. So I've got a little slider here that adjusts the speed of this music here, and I've got a volume knob that turns it up or down. And we've got a little thing that turns this slider into a heart rate monitor as well. And again, you can change the pace with this slider. So it's just something that we've been playing around with over the course of the last few months. Every once in a while, we call this project up. I wanted to add a new feature to it this week. Oh, here's our security monitor. Let's try that again. Yeah, there's our security monitor. And we got a couple of other features in here as well, which let me just switch this one off. A little scrolling screen that runs across the screen like that. And I wanted to add a new feature to it this week, so I added a little hammer because I was feeling a little bit destructive. So I'm going to show you guys a little prefab video that I've made here explaining how I got this hammer into it. So let's jump to that right now. Welcome back to Mr. Tomek's Marvelous Machine, a fun little segment where we learn about controlling buttons and knobs and sliders and interface elements in Scratch by adding components to a weird and useless machine. I was feeling in a bit of a destructive mood today, so the new component I'm going to add this week is a hammer that we can grab off of the shelf here and use to smash various parts of our screen. So we just pull it off of the shelf here, and you can see that we get a broken glass texture appearing anywhere on the screen where we place it, and that fades after a few seconds. So some interesting coding going on in here, and I'm going to break it down bit by bit, starting right now. So you can find the finished Scratch file with all my coding in it right at this address, or down in the description down below. You can see we're starting off with 3 new objects here that are all going to be part of this particular task. The first one is the hammer, and it's a fairly simple, straightforward graphic here. Secondly, I've drawn this object here. I created it just by drawing a big fat circle and filling it with emptiness in the middle, and then making a really thick pathway, like 16 point. I filled it up by making the outline a radial gradient going from black to kind of a gray color, and you can see how this is taking shape right now. And when I was happy with it, I just grabbed an eraser and erased the top half of it, just like that. And that's all it took to make this particular shape here. I'm going to delete this newer version of it. All right, and thirdly, I have some broken glass graphics. They're transparent graphics that I've downloaded from the internet. There's 3 of them here, so we're just going to randomly pick one of them to get pasted down onto the screen every time we want to destroy something. So we're going to start with our hammer sprite. When we click the green flag, we're going to have it go to a starter position, which is determined by this XY coordinate here, so that no matter where we move it on the screen, it'll always pop back into that location. There's a variable here called hammer selected that will be either 1 or 0, depending on whether we have the hammer in our hands or not. That's going to be flipping back and forth. Okay, so the main bit of code here is a loop where we're just checking to see if we've clicked our mouse. So as soon as we click the green flag, we're checking to see if our mouse is down. If our mouse is down, then we're going to get into an if-else loop here. So we're checking not only that the mouse is down, but also that the hammer selected equals 0, which means we don't already have our hammer in our hands. So if we click on the hammer, and if we are not already holding it, then we're going to, this hammer's not actually going to move. We're just going to make it really dim here in the background to let us know that we can always put our hammer back here. And that way we also want to make sure it's wearing the right costume, so we're going to tell it switch costume to on. This one's called on, and this one's called off. And we're also going to tell it to go to the front, because we of course want it in front of the hammer that's here on the wall here. Alright, so now we're going to do a forever loop, and inside there we're going to basically wait for this hammer selected variable to change. So when we grab the hammer, that hammer selected is going to turn to 1. We're going to going to have to be careful here because as we're creating clones, if there's already a clone on the screen, it's going to create a clone of itself as well. So we always have to be cautious about creating multiple clones. There's different ways to avoid that from happening, but the easiest is to create a local variable, so a variable that's different for each of these clones, and that's called isClone. So the first character who is the main sprite here is always going to have this variable isClone at 0, but the clones are going to have their isClone variable set to 1. And that way, when we're programming this, we're going to make sure that only the main guy who has isClone set to 0 is able to make further clones of himself. Alright, so we're going to tell this guy to basically stick to my cursor. So we're going to have it go to the front and go to the mouse cursor and basically sit there forever. You can see what that looks like here when I click the green flag. You can see the graphic is kind of following us around on the screen. I've arranged it so that it's a little bit up and to the left of my mouse cursor. You can see that it's actually not centered on my mouse cursor. That's deliberate because the center of this hammer is right here. So when I click with this hammer, I'm going to want the graphic to be positioned where the hammer actually comes down, which is right around here. You'll see that because of the way that I place this, that it looks a little bit more realistic, like the end of the hammer is the part that's causing the actual damage. So we don't actually want to be looking at this broken glass until it's actually ready to go. So that's why we're going to add a hide here right under the green flag. So even though it's going to be following our cursor around, it's going to be invisible to us until we click that button to bring it to life. Okay, so that's the main code here. Now we're waiting for that event to come across. You might remember in the hammer here, halfway through the hammer swing, we're broadcasting this message called hammer hit. So that's what the cracked glass is waiting for here. So when it gets the hammer hit message, it's going to do a few things. Firstly, it's going to check and see whether it's a clone or not. So whatever it's doing here, it's only going to do to the master object, because all the clones are going to be marked as 1 here. So what are we going to do here? We're going to set the size to 50%. The glass break is a little bit big here. You can adjust your own size to however you like, though. We're going to play a broken glass sound that I've downloaded from freesound.org, my favorite sound site. And then we're going to create a clone of ourselves. So that's Well, thank you, Mr. Tomek, for that interesting report. So I've got my my machine here. You can see that it's working quite nicely. Whoa! Let's turn that off. Wow, that volume's a little loud. It is functioning quite nicely here now. There was one little bug in the earlier version of it, so if you were looking at it on the screen, you might have noticed that the hammer was engaging itself no matter what happened here. And that was because here underneath the green flag, we were going if mouse down without this touching mouse pointer part. And that was going to make it so that whenever you clicked anywhere on the screen, the hammer was not attached. So thanks to Jaren Jackpot, who pointed out the little bug that I left in the code here. So I just added an and then, so if mouse is down and we're touching the hammer with our mouse pointer, then it's going to be activated. And that seems to be working quite nicely now. All right, I promised earlier to show you a file that that our friend Supercan had just created a little while ago.
Can I just say something quick?
Yeah, sure.
About that, I really, in the tutorial, I really liked how you, in every section, you had the scripts and the blocks like off to the side, and then one by one you would drag them in. And that way you would explain it. I think that was a really good idea.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I've been experimenting with how to teach coding effectively, right? And